tomboy aesthetic and stripping that away and leaving her kind of bare. So that's what I took away from her, like her character in the movie, you know, like where she's running a fucking boutique shop and like is very kind of like, you know, she lets her mother-in-law just talk shit to her and doesn't do anything.
Hun, that's just Hispanic mothers. That has nothing to do with it. That's just how we're built.
This is your fault. You only did all of this because of you.
Which I don't necessarily agree with, because even when she's like shit-talking the guy that's trying to take her store, she's still like talking shit to him in a very typical Michelle Rodriguez kind of way. So I feel kind of like, even though she's wearing like the more feminine clothes, she's not in like a wife beater and, you know, like fucking cargo pants or something. It still doesn't necessarily take away that Michelle Rodriguez type of power that normally she just carries. I think it's still very much there, but she still was like more so of the weaker link. But the ending I thought was great. And it kind of like threw me off because I was thinking it was going to go in a completely different way.
What way did you think it was going to go?
I really thought that they were going to end up just kind of like prematurely trying to do the heist. And then something was going to fucking go wrong because obviously amateurs. And then that would kind of take it on to like another level. Whereas, you know, they learned how to do something better, or one of them gets killed, or one of them gets captured, or, you know, something like that. Also,
we should say at the top of the show, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, check it out first. I think it's available on the FX app or through Hulu. You can rent it.
Don't watch it on FX because I think it's the TV edit.
Even if it's through the app? Usually, like...
I don't know. I just know that it was available, like, on the FX movie channel, but that's going to be cut up. That's going to be edited.
Oh, alright.
I can tell you that. I don't know where to get it unedited. I own it.
So you can borrow it from Chris.
You can borrow it from me if you want to watch it.
So I'm sorry to disappoint you.
You're like, I'm done. Good
no,
night.
I think that Viola Davis is fucking strong, and I think that was such a unique, like, leading character, and like an actress and everything.
Did you know that was her first leading role for like pretty much ever? She's been in a ton of stuff, but she's usually a supporting character or like second build. She's coming off of an Oscar win for Fences when she does this, which she's fantastic in.
Have you seen that with Denzel? Yeah.
Even though I think she was a Best Supporting Actress winner, even though she clearly is a lead character in Fences. But I read that this was her first leading role, or at least she was top billed in the movie for the first time ever.
What are your guys' thoughts on the opening? Because you have like, she's what, like mid-50s now? With Liam Neeson. I thought it was very interesting because you don't see movies open up like that with like the like a drastically different interracial couple.
And an older one at that.
Yeah. So, yeah, kind of stemming off what you're saying, that this is her first, like, big lead role in a film. I thought that was because that's literally how the movie opens up, is they're, like, making out in the bed.
And Liam Neeson took his time with Viola Davis, too. I was like, damn, Liam Neeson. He's like, this is my leading lady.
Well, we know... You love this movie, Chris, right?
I do love this movie. It's like one of my top movies of that year, of 2018. And I think it's so underrated. Like, it got good reviews. It did decently at the box office for kind of a mid-budget thriller, even though I think it just barely broke even in the States. But it's really disappointing to me to know that it kind of isn't talked about and just isn't given, I don't want to say the respect, but it doesn't have like that cultural footprint that I think that it should have, for not only being a great drama and a great heist film, but especially a movie, female-led heist film. So I'm always trying to get people to check it out. I've told my sister multiple times when she's seen she's come across me like watching it.
But then she was like, "Can you watch it for me?"
So your sister hasn't seen it yet?
No, but she's always like, "Oh, what is this?" And I say, "Oh, it's Widows. Fucking good movie. You should watch it."
She was like, "Is Demi Lovato in it?"
But yeah, I've on the few times that she's seen me watching it and asked, I've told her, "Oh, it's Widows. You should check it out. It's a really good movie." But I mean, beyond the four leads, the cast is fucking stacked, man. You read them all off at the top of the show, and everyone in the movie is good, like very good in their role, no matter how big or small it
You know that
is.
shit? He like grunted. He's like, "They're good."
They are. How do I sound on the mic?
He's like, "I'm the Batman."
I'm like, hey, you should watch Widows. It's a good movie.
This movie is fantastic.
To kind of stem off of what you were saying about the characters, let's talk about, because it's a very character-driven film, let's talk about the characters and some of the stronger ones and people who stood out to us.
Colin Farrell is great as a guy who's running for alderman, because his father holds that position currently, but his father is retiring and he's running to take over that position. Running against him is Brian Tyree Henry, who is not necessarily a crime boss, but is involved.
Some kind of hustler.
Yeah.
Looking to get out of that, maybe make a name for himself.
Yeah, he's basically looking to go legit, and this is his way of going legit. His brother / enforcer, Daniel Kaluuya, is
Amazing.
fantastic in the movie, and how many lines do you think he actually has? He doesn't have a lot.
Yeah, he's a bit player, but everything, like, when you do see him, every time it stands out.
He's real menacing in all of his scenes.
Scary. Probably the scariest performance I think I've seen from him. Because he's usually not, like, he doesn't do that. So it was crazy to see him as a sociopath and to be so good.
Yeah.
You know, because he's usually in more, how do you say, like, dialed back or shy, or, you know what I mean?
I haven't seen too many with him.
Oh, that's right. You haven't seen Get Out or...
Queen and Slim.
Yeah.
Which is solid. He's really good in it.
I only saw the...
You've seen Judas and the Black Messiah.
I saw that one, which he was amazing.
He's in Sicario.
Oh, that's right.
He was?
He's Emily Blunt's partner. But he's really good in this movie in his limited screen and even dialogue. Because for a lot of his scenes, he only has a handful of lines and that's it. Even his last scene in the movie is dialogue free. And he's really scary in that last scene. I mean, we talked about Colin Farrell, but we should mention Robert Duvall is his father, who again only has 2 or 3 scenes in the movie, maybe, and he's great.
They kind of did him dirty, like making him like the shitty racist politician.
He seems like the nice guy and everything, but when his back's up against the wall,
or just even behind closed doors, you just
when he's talking to Colin Farrell. Liam Neeson isn't in it a whole lot, but it is very good. John Bernthal, who we always joke about, is in like maybe 30 seconds of this movie.
Not even. He really they do a flashback with to Vicky, because that's her husband.
Vicky is his wife,
and he was obviously abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all you know about the guy, is that he was probably a wife beater.
Probably deserved to die.
And he was the only one injured, and whatever happens we don't see how the heist goes wrong.
Yeah.
It's like we come into it like towards the tail end, right, in the beginning. And he's already injured.
He's already injured.
Or shot or whatever.
And then their van explodes when the cops show up and there's a big shootout. And that's how that whole crew gets wiped out. But they had stolen money from the Manning brothers.
Mm-hmm. $2 million.
And now the Manning brothers want that money back, even though those guys are dead. So they threaten the widows of that heist crew. And that's how we get the titular crew, who he says, you guys owe us the money. So either you come up with it or we're going to kill you. And that's how they form their crew, the women.
But at the same time, they're like kind of terrorizing. Her name's Veronica, right? Viola Davis.
Mm-hmm.
They're terrorizing her because they can't put hands on her, but they're just fucking with everybody around her.
They're like at the funeral,
Yeah.
like menacing her. Brian Tyree Henry shows up at her apartment and is like menacing her dog, which is the same dog from Game Night. Did you read that? Yeah,
I did read that. Yeah,
it's the same dog from Game Night. Who, if you haven't seen Game Night, you should watch that. And the dog's really funny in it too.
That's scored by Cliff Martinez, no?
It is. And then they're threatening her driver,
Yeah, Garrett
Dillahunt, who's always great.
You like him.
Fucking love him.
Always good in comedy or drama. He's one of those guys that can,
Chameleon.
that can disappear. Even one of Harry's old partners, the guy in the wheelchair, in the bowling alley, Kaluuya shows up and starts menacing him.
Oh yeah.
You know,
That was...
He dumps him in the lane and then is just like kind of stabbing him to figure out where he's paralyzed and where he's not. He's kind of just like sticking him with the letter opener is what it looks like. Trying to get him to say, you know, where's our money and what does she know?
And then he gives it away that she has a special notebook with all the plans from like past heists to the new ones.
Harry kept all of his heist ideas in a notebook, and that's a notebook that Veronica has possession of, and they either want that or they want their money. Lucas Haas is in it.
That's right. And
Who's
he's
The guy that the Bicky is
seeing.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, because she's kind of like an escort, basically. Her mom forces her into...
That guy had a serious creep factor.
Yeah.
Jackie Weaver is a fucked up mother.
Yeah.
And she ends up meeting Lucas Haas' character, who's a great deal shorter than her.
We should point out that the Bicky is like 6'3".
Yeah. No,
the only one in that movie that is her height is probably Liam Neeson.
But it's just funny, like, seeing her meet up with him. And he's kind of an asshole to her, too. Or he dangles shit in front of her face because he knows, you know, he's in a position of power. Which is why I said that none of the men in this film have any redeemable qualities. The only one would probably be him, and he's still a piece of shit, in my opinion. Though with just the things that he says, and like he helps her out or whatever, but it never goes anywhere either.
Yeah.
Right?
But at the same time, she starts using him because he's an architect, and she knows that he can figure out the plans, figure out what they're looking at, and he's the one that figures out that it's a safe room in the house.
Also, she shouldn't have had those fucking blueprints just lying around.
Yeah, that was kind of sloppy.
I thought she was the second weakest link.
Really?
Really?
Now, you didn't even like that where she like pretends to be a mail order bride to get the weapons?
It was funny, but she still wasn't necessarily impressive to me.
Milquetoast?
Exactly. Very much so. Exactly.
No, disagree. She's really good in that scene where she has to get the guns. That kind of playing that like damsel in distress.
Because she asked Veronica, like, guns from where? And she's like, this is America.
Yeah, which is a good line. She's operating out of desperation the entire movie. And for being a character who seems like kind of a wallflower early on, she's the one that kind of adapts the quickest to this plan. You know, you can kind of see it in the first time she goes out where she has to pick up the van. She doesn't really know what she's doing. But then when Veronica sends her to get the guns, she knows exactly how to play up on some woman's sympathy to pick up the weapons that she needs without being attached to them at all. And I really like it after she gets the gun, she's like walking out like eating like, was it a corn dog or something?
It looks like a hot dog.
A hot dog?
She's like,
all nonchalant, like she didn't just pick up the guns.
I just think it's very interesting that is what you're kind of like, your dick is getting hard about, but then you have somebody who's like Kaluuya's character, where compare those two characters.